All right, so the strategy we're going to model today would be the think aloud. So first, think aloud is basically a strategy to where you think out aloud to yourself to help you first recall information that you would have filed away in your brain, and two, to help you decipher and analyze the task at hand for you to complete. So first I'm going to model this strategy, and then I will hand it over to you, the student, to do for yourself, and I will aid you in the acquisition of this skill. So first I'm going to model the think aloud. So here we have a sample test question that we will see on our upcoming test, and I will read it out loud for you. So first I'm going to source it. So our source is Mr. W.E.B. Du Bois. This was a quote during the early 20th century, so the 1900s. You know, my basic knowledge is telling me that W.E.B. Du Bois was a well-known muckraker, civil rights activist, and progressive supporter. So that's why I'm going to start with my base knowledge just from my source. So the quote says, "Education is that whole system of human training." So we're talking, here's the think aloud here. So we're modeling, he's talking about education. So education, the education of human beings and individuals, is that whole system. So we know there's several different parts that make the system go. Of human training, so pushing humans to complete a task. Education is that whole system of human training within and without the schoolhouse. So inside and outside of educational facilities, referring to that most education goes outside, which develops and molds men. So the quote, there's your quote. The question, this quote reflects what historical idea? So we have four answer choices here. We have reform, progressivism, civil rights, and naturalism. So I think aloud.
The library will close in 10 minutes. Please check out or return all items to the circulation desk now. The circulation desk and computer lab will close in 5 minutes.
So I've already had my think aloud, and I've developed my schema of ideas of what is going to go on and happen. So I'm going to start with my answer think aloud. So naturalism. Now naturalism really doesn't apply to any of these ideas. I may not know what naturalism is, I may do. But naturalism is in fact continuing on with the circumstances you were born in. So I know that has nothing to do with it, even if I knew what naturalism was or wasn't. Civil rights. Though W.E.B. Du Bois was a civil rights activist, he reflected civil rights ideas. The quote really doesn't, let's look at the question again. The quote reflects what historical idea? This quote really doesn't reflect a lot of idea of civil rights. So then we're left with reform and progressivism. So we know that reform has definitely changed for the better, and progressivism it speaks to the evolution of cultures, politics, and social and economic interactions for the better. So these are both really good answers. So reform, let's see. Reform, the quote isn't really speaking to change. Though W.E.B. Du Bois was for change, and he was an advocate for change and progress, reform isn't really speaking to change. So therefore, we know that progressivism is our answer. So he's speaking to the progress of men through education, both through the experiences that he has inside the classroom and outside the classroom. So there's your think aloud.